Yeah.
Most overrated KPI in AI projects.
ROI, a pure profit.
Quality management.
I think it's a little bit overrated because there's like a more layers than just pure ROI. I can't imagine to live without Google. And just zoom out, Google it's less than 30-year-old company. So how people live without Google before that? They did. So basically, there is no evidence that Google is going to exist forever. In a lot of cases, the leaderships in companies, they're basically more afraid that their competitor is starting to use AI. That's why they're pushing AI more without even pure strategy. So they say, our competitors is going to, that gives them an advantage, and we need to do something.
So, welcome back to Bits and Bolts. Today I have special guest with me, Alex Velinov, AI Solution Architect, VP of AI and Technology at Tag Digital, creator of Vector, Spark, FCE frameworks, many achievements, many years of experience, impressive track of records from 10,000 hours in media and content production, 10,000 hours in digital marketing, 6,000 hours of architecture and deploying of AI systems. And also you at Tag Digital, you helped to shift organizations more to use AI first workflows by different ways, from automation, prompts, infrastructure, agentic systems, and applied AI in a way that actually, can create the impact. And also, on top of all of it, you run also the newsletter in AI We Trust with around 15,000 readers. And it's one of the largest ChatGPT in marketing communities online. That's a lot. Did I miss anything?
Well, I don't know. Let's say no. That's even more like it sounds bombastic, but it's not so. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
It is.
I think probably what you're missing, probably it's not somewhere in my LinkedIn that I um like spend a lot of my life in show business, and I really like music. That's always been my go-to escape room. And I've been into music for, I don't know, 35 years, and I've been playing with the same guys for 30 years just for fun. No any commerce or commercial uh, like initiatives in that. Is just for fun. That's our way to communicate. So it's not in my LinkedIn profile, but yeah, music, it's always been extremely important for me and part of how it forms me as a person, let's say.
That's important, you learn from one to another. And I think it's also important, especially if we work a lot with our heads, it's good to have something, different in the life where you can get help to rest in some ways, or to.
Yeah. I mean, always when you do more than one things, you create different kind of cognitive knowledge, and once you have knowledge in different domains, it's really easy to start connecting the dots. That's where you start to be creative, because if you have knowledge in music, also you have knowledge in technology, and also you have knowledge in something else, you can easily find that there is connection between these three, four, or whatever and it just make the whole thing more engaging and more, let's say, interesting for you first.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll see sometimes one patterns in one. I'm, for example, heavily involved into triathlon sports, and very often I can see something what's work in sport, and that could be nice to use in IT, even in the process, or like human behavior or something, or other way
Exactly.
around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can borrow a lot from sport in business and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Probably similar with music in some
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you gave a presentation last week about 5x5 in AI, if I understood, and you mentioned a lot of very interesting questions, which I think people could, find useful if they find answer. For
Mhm.
example, Will AI take our job, or my job, or your job, or anyone else's job?
Yeah. Well, that's a very hot question right now. I think we are in that stage that AI is getting better and people are start getting a little bit worried about. And I would say something that as a digital marketer always said it depends. So I say it depends what you're doing. Um, for example, if you're a plumber or electrician, it's very unlikely AI is going to take your job in next probably more than 10, 15 years, because we're talking here about robotics and robots are not it's far, far away from doing this kind of contextual jobs. Um, However, for anyone else working with these kind of four mediums, text, digital, obviously text, audio, video, and images, it's very likely that AI will going to influence your job one way or another. But I think the worries are more than actual reality, what's happening in the reality, because we are in the middle of this industrial revolution. And because of that, we know historically that every industrial revolution creates more job than it actually remove from the market. So I'll give you one very, very simple example. Something I read yes few days ago or a week ago on LinkedIn. You know, they're saying, "Oh, now there is a big boom of vibe coding, so everyone is start doing vibe coding and create applications." But actually, if you go deep, you know that this application can be scaled. You can't do with vibe coding application for 1 million users. That's obvious,
No.
because you need to have a different infrastructure. But anyways, what's happening now in the job market that there is a lot of new jobs appear for um, vibe code fixers. So someone creates something and then it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So it's not very stable. And then now there's a demand of people that can go actually and fix the code. So that's completely new job. This job doesn't existed. I don't know, 9 months ago, probably nobody even talk about vibe coding, and now we have vibe code fixers or someone that fix vibe code. So you see, one simple example of completely new job that appears, well, I don't know, 1 month ago, 2 months ago. And if you're experienced or if you even know, you probably can fix some code easily. Even if you're a junior kind of developer, you can fix a vibe code. So, that's a new opportunity for some people. So yeah, we'll see more of those more and more. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think AI.
answering the question, is AI going to take our job? I think if I need to give a binary answer, it's no.
No, but as you said, AI is coming with its own problems as a result, vibe coding. People don't know a lot of industries, of course, tech is adopting its so-called early adopters. But, my partner works, for example, as you mentioned, electrical engineering, and they have a lot of drawings, they have a lot of documentation. AI boom started 3 years ago. They only now starting to use, for example, some AI tools 3 years in, and you have huge markets which are much later with the adoption, where people also don't know how to use the tools from the basics. For example, my parents in the insurance, I was showing my father, okay, how do you use AI? How is it secure to use AI? How it's so efficient? How it can help them? So there's huge markets for also teaching people how to use AI in the efficient manner, and so there's a lot of different opportunities from prompting engineering, from, as you say, the vibe code fixer, so-called, and there's many gurus for AI right now on LinkedIn, as I can see.
Yeah, even if you think about prompt engineering as a job, that thing doesn't exist probably 2 years ago, and there'll be some new stuff there as well. I'll give you one example of something I saw this weekend. It's when you're saying about adoption. Um, it's I was traveling over the weekend and I found in one a very small, like a convenience store, a magazine about how to, not small store, but yes, store, like a grocery store, um, a magazine, ChatGPT for seniors. So there's a magazine, a printed media, with explaining for the older people how to use ChatGPT, and I was like a little bit confused because I didn't expect to see something like that. So see, adoption is happening no matter what. So it's happened on a different level. Also, we can see at the moment how the traffic through the AI tools, AI chatbots like ChatGPT is growing up, and the Google traffic is going down simply because there's change in the behavior. People prefer to to get answers from somewhere else, and that's not when I don't know. I was talking with someone, and people think, oh, I can't imagine to live without Google, and just zoom out. Google, it's less than 30-year-old company. So how people live without Google before that? They did. So basically, there is no evidence that Google is going to exist forever. So you know that's how technology changed. There's something old, something new coming in. Same with ChatGPT. Who knows?
Exactly. The only constant is change, pretty much. That's what we know
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Impermanence. That's how I call it, and it's a main
Exactly.
principle.
Other question which you were addressing is how will AI impact the agencies? I think you especially talk about marketing agencies, if I'm
Yeah,
right.
agencies. Yeah, so like a service kind of agency, marketing, social, PR, whatever. Well, I think they will be impacted one way or another. Um, there will be a change in different demand of different services, I assume, from the clients because the clients are asking questions. Just be a little bit more curious about how we use AI, when we use AI, and I think that will continue, and there will be a change of what actually uh, marketing agencies are going to do in future. But there are no, I don't think there will be a lot of big change simply because client comes to an agency basically because they don't have an expertise on some domain. It's A, and B because they don't have time to do it. So even with AI, they're still not going to have the expertise, even if they have some sort of custom GPTs or something else, doesn't matter. And they're still not going to have time. Just probably with AI, they'll have a little bit different expectations of, I don't know, I'm not sure, something about the speed, the quality. There'll be like higher expectations, and there'll still be the same demand, even a new demand. Because again, we talked about vibe coding 5 minutes ago. Now there is completely new thing coming to the market in the marketing agencies. Optimize your content for large language models. This doesn't exist 3 years ago, so that's a completely new job. There was ACO, now there's AEO or LMO or whatever. There's like a 3, 4 different acronyms for them, or GEO, generative um, uh, engine optimization. So that's completely new job. So you see, even in the marketing agency, there's completely new market for completely new service that's coming in. So yeah, jobs changing. Uh, Probably SEO services will decrease, this will increase, etc., etc. So yeah, as we said, the only permanent thing is the change. So I'm generally optimistic. I don't think there will be a change for the agency, but it's not going to be like all the agencies are going to disappear. No, they have more job and they have different kind of job.
Yeah, they will just need to, uh, change their services and how they work for the changing market and for the changing expectations of their customers.
Mhm.
And as you said, the market is not fully developed yet for LLM optimization and how you advertise yourself and how you position for LLMs, for example. And that's something what is changing, I think, quite rapidly as well. So they need to adjust fast. So again, we have the typical curve of adoption, early adopters who's and so on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now we are in, that um, like a curve of adoption of any technology that there is like in the beginning, there is a big enthusiasm. You go to the peak and it goes down to disillusion and it goes back again till it goes to plateau. So we are with some of the AI, we're going now downturn because we know what actually it's possible, what is not possible. We also know some use cases and that it's going to work and some that it's not going to work. So we are in that state now of a little disappointment for some of AI stuff. I'll say, for example, generative AI, it's like a little bit downturn at the moment. Probably agentic AI is at the top, and AGI is probably still climbing up because it's too early for that. So it depends of what kind of AI we're talking about, but yeah, it's definitely all the way around through the curve of
Yeah,
adoption.
it's all over, I think it depends, on what type of AI, and then it depends also in which industry, in one industry, tech, some stuff we're gonna be further, and with some, other not so tech native, as I called it usually, industries, they're gonna be much earlier on the adoption, much earlier into exploring what's possible for their use cases, and, with the optimism, I can see, they're usually a bit behind in the adoption compared to IT and tech industries.
Yeah.
How would you communicate to customers that you use AI?
How to communicate to customers? Well, you need to be open and you need to be transparent. That's what I believe. Because AI is a tool. Even I think we are a little bit over kind of look into that. I can ask you a counter question, like how we communicate to the client that we are using internet. Do we communicate that to the client? No, we don't,
Not
right?
anymore. No, no, it's
Yeah,
a baseline kind of.
yeah, exactly. So AI is going to be a commodity very soon. So now we are kind of, oh, client may ask, blah, blah, all that stuff. Cool, that's cool. But I think it's a very temporary thing because it's just going to be part of the whole like a digital ecosystem. We don't explain to client do we use email. We don't explain to client do we use internet. We don't explain to client do we use digital whatever workspace. So it's new, but that's why it's unknown. But I think very soon it's going to be very commoditized. So even people are not going to ask that because it's just going to be accepted by default. Especially, I think, uh, like a part of this adoption is going to come more from, you know, mm, AI being available to the end user in their day-to-day life through their mobile phones. I think that will commoditize AI in very quickly. Once it's in your phone and you communicate with that on daily basis, and that was one of the challenge that recently, not recently, but like let's say 2-3 years ago, the chips in the phones were not good enough to run small language model on the phone, but now they can. And if they can, then you can have like a co-intelligence in your pocket, and that is going to be a norm very soon, I assume.
Yeah, I think it's already a norm, in the tech savvy people or in the younger generation. My 15-year-old brother is using AI for everything, from school
Mhm.
homework to
Uh,
learning. Instead of, I haven't seen him using Google. Uh,
yeah.
he just uses AI for everything.
What I'm trying to say is that new model of phones, they come with pre-baked AI.
Yeah.
So once you change your phone, you're going to have a new a new device, and this new device comes with AI, and that's going to be not only a norm, but that's going to be expected norm or whatever you call it. It's just
Yeah.
going to be part of the normal things, like uh,
Yeah,
do you
that's
expect
how we operate.
yeah, do you expect now to buy a phone without camera, for example? No, you don't. So it's going to be the same. You're not expected to have phone without AI probably in 3-5 years. I'll say
Yeah, you
probably
need to
three.
buy like a special dump phone, they call it, for people
Yeah,
who don't want to be online all the time, or for people, sometimes to have for older people simpler phones
yeah,
for various of reasons.
yeah, yeah.
You mentioned many times that AI doesn't fix broken workflows, it amplifies them. Where do you see
hmm
companies underestimating the actual cost of AI readiness?
How companies estimate, I don't know how they estimate, but that's one thing for sure. If you want to apply AI into your processes, there's two things you need to do first. The first thing is to see what data you have, how accurate and clean and ready to be used by AI this data is. And the second thing is to revisit your whole processes and to, sometimes you need to simplify them, sometimes you need to change them completely and make it more robust. But these are the two things that are very important. And if your processes are not good, AI is just not going to help at all. It's just going to create more noise and more errors on the way. So that's why when you want to apply AI, these are the two things. Check your data, make it ready for AI, and then check your processes. If they are not clear or they're not so kind of 0-1 binary processes, you need to make them more 0-1 and then apply AI wherever it's applicable. Obviously, something I'm always advocating is that not for everything, but for most of the thing that requires something which is, I don't know how to explain, something which is more abstract as an output. For example, if you do a design of something, or if you do a copy or text or blog post, the output, it's function of who is writing this. So as I'm saying, it's an abstract. It's not like 0-1. It's not black and white. So in all those cases, are always saying there needs to be human in a loop that basically check, see the output, make sure that it covers all the standard, make sure that it's exactly as you're going to write it. And if it's not, just edit it manually and then send it to whatever needs to go. But yeah, human in a loop is also important for those things.
Yeah, make sure that it's supervised because, yeah, as you mentioned, without correct data, we cannot expect, the outcomes we want. And also, without definition of processes, can go all over the place, or it might be not suitable for AI to being able to execute it.
hmm hmm Yeah.
That's usually before we go into the design phase. But once, the teams go into design phase, do you see any, mistakes in the architecture they do when they go into design itself for the,
The,
agentic AIs or for the, other AI solutions?
mhm, mhm. Is there an errors in architecture? Well, you need to know. So basically, when you have AI project, you need to know very well how you define the success. And once you know that, you need to find the right tool or right solution to do that. And that's where the architecture comes. So it's a kind of, you need to make those decisions in the beginning when you know what exactly is the goal and what you're trying to achieve. If you made the good decisions in the beginning, also you need to think a little bit with scale. Is this going to be scaled later, or it's going to stay small? etc., etc. So once you make those decisions, probably it should be fine, I think. But you can make mistake, of course. It's important how quick you can go back and fix it.
It's always how fast you can recover the system. I
Yeah,
think, so a lot of people talk about so-called best practices, and that we need a special practices for AI, and some of them sure, but a lot of what we already have, in the basic software development uh, and generic ones, you can apply the same stuff for AI. As you said, requirements, data quality, process mapping, scalability, security. We go all over the same basic terms.
yeah,
Or you heard any special AI best practice which could be, if we don't do this, it's up to abstract.
yeah. It's probably the only difference between a normal software product development and some sort of AI. It really depends what kind of AI it is. Is that with the normal software development, it's the whole system is um, there's clear uh, expected output on some stage. Uh, so it's deterministic, right? And AI is non-deterministic. So you can expect different outputs that we can basically, if it's some step somewhere, it can affect the next steps in the process. So that's the only difference. It's kind of a little bit more abstract, and also sometimes it's a little bit harder to fix, because if you use large language model somewhere on the way, uh, basically you don't know the behavior 100%. Even wherever you go to prompting, sometimes it just can act weirdly on the way. But
Yes,
that needs to be expected as well. So it's not, once you know it, and you take this into consideration.
exactly. We talk about probability and what confidence you can have on the
Yeah,
expected outcome from the particular model, because you can put the same prompt twice in the same model and you're gonna have a different outcome.
exactly.
That's possible as well.
Exactly. So it really depends of what you're trying to achieve, and um, how the accuracy, it's important. Accuracy, some system that needs to create some sort of abstract creative output. There, we don't need to talk about accuracy, because there's not accuracy in that. Some system need to be extremely accurate, so that's why you need to check a few times on the way, and have some other, like, a way to validate the output, to be sure that it's correct. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, but that I think goes level up. How do we design whole process around AI? What you mentioned before, for example, human in the loop, or of course some stuff you can automate. But where is the human in the loop needed? For example, for the additional supervision in the cases where it really needs to be accurate, or in the use cases or the industries or whatever it is.
yeah, exactly.
Do you think your creative background or production background changed the way you design AI systems compared to classic engineering only teams?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
In what way?
Yeah. Well, I think it's in a way of, probably when you have a creative mind, you have a different approach to solve problems. So I personally have the technological approach based on my, education experience, but also sometimes you go completely off, and you can solve some problems with a completely different approach, which is not so technical, and it's not so common. So that's why I'm saying that sometimes this kind of creative thinking can help you solve the same problems in a different way. So yeah, it helps for
Yeah, it
sure.
gives you advantage. It gives you more abstract
Oh,
thinking, I think.
it might gives you advantage. It might gives you disadvantage as well,
Yeah, it
because
depends how you look
it's
at it.
equally probable to fail or not. Let's put it that way. If you use some, like, a abstract new method to solve a problem. It might work, it might not. So you still spend time to try to figure it out and to make it work. So sometimes you just lost a lot of time, which goes to the bin, and there's zero result because you choose to solve a problem with a different approach. Well, so you know that.
Yeah, sometimes the
The-
simplest stuff can work and we go to abstract because we want to find, smart, effective solutions. So it will
yeah,
vary.
yeah, but that's exploration. That's why it's how you learn, or that's how you even you know create new patterns here in the box.
Yeah, definitely. That's also needed, to being able to learn, see what works, what doesn't. Maybe next time you're going to do better or try it at least.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And, you know, as follow the creativity, a lot of companies complains based on data that they don't really, see ROI on their projects and they waste a lot of money on it. You created quite a few frameworks because of wasting time and money on building AI.
Uh-huh.
SE, Spark, Vector, quite a few. Uh, what do you think number one reason a project fails after it's actually delivered?
I think probably the number one reason of so there's multiple. I'll try to mark few. The one is that you're not solving the right problem. That's probably the biggest one. The second biggest one is that you're not solving the problem with the right people, because the project itself doesn't work. This To make a project work, it needs a people that are involved to use the project, to use the actual end product. If those people are not involved in the development, the probability of them using it's very low. You need to to create the project with the end user involved, not only end user in mind, but end user involved, so you can see how they think and see the whole thing, and you apply agile approach when you design and develop the product. Because if you just talking, you go and talk with some CEO, and the CEO said, "Oh, that's the problem we have." You start solving the problem. You solve the problem. It it looks works in theory, but then this product goes to the team that needs to use it, and they just try it. It might fails one, or even don't get exactly what they expect to see, and they stop using it, and then everything just go to the drain because of that. So to to make it work, I think you need to involve people that are going to use the actual product in the development stage. Design, development, everything just on the way, and testing, of course.
Yeah, so you want as much feedback as possible from end client.
Yeah. End user, it's important because he, he or she, they're going to pay the bill at the end. They're going to use the product. And sometimes it can be not the right functionality. Sometimes it can be a wrong QX. There's many different things. People don't use specific products because of it. It may be different, but if you work with those users or a focus group or whatever kind of sample, that can gives you more uh, like a robust approach. And also, if you make them work for them, they'll be the advocate for this too internally. You don't need to do internal campaigns. You don't need to do campaigns to convince people they need to use the new tools, because the people that actually are going to use the tools are the people design the tools,
Yeah,
kind of.
if you solve their problems or make their
Mhm.
life easier, they always gonna, want to use it and they're gonna promote it themselves, as you mentioned.
Yeah, to their colleagues more like that. They're probably going to they're into too, because they're already involved in the process. but they are going to be, you know, promote to their colleagues, which is important.
Exactly. Then you can ensure that actually what you're building is getting used as well afterwards.
Mhm. Yeah.
Tag Digital has been ahead of curve of AI across PPC, media ops, internal processes, and production. Do you think that internal team learn about AI adoption, something what most marketing of growth teams is still missing?
So say that again. I just starting about something else. Can you can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, do you think that a lot you learn something on your journey with working with AI and your internal team, something what majority of marketing teams still haven't realized or they're
Ah,
missing, you can say it.
yeah, yeah, of course. So see, the most important thing here is that you need to experiment a lot, and you need to be prepared mentally to fail, because you're going to fail. That's for sure. If you sit down and wait someone else to do the experiments, and you just get the best practices and start applying it, you're never going to be in front of that in that transformation. To be in front, you need to experiment, and you need to fail, and you're going to fail multiple times. You don't need to be afraid of that. You know, just some days it doesn't work. Cool. Doesn't matter. Tomorrow it's going to work. And I think that's most important. People are afraid to try new stuff uh, because of many different reasons. Sometimes they don't have time. Sometimes, most of the time, they don't have will. Sometimes they don't have the right environment to start even experimenting. Sometimes it's because there is the whole AI stuff. It's kind of almost like a rumor within a company. There's no clear policy. There's no clean, uh, clear way to do, what not to do, how to do, etc. So there's not like a proper leadership within the companies. But what I'm trying to say, it's with or without this, it's still a matter of experimentation and stay in front of the curve. Just if there's something new, try it, see how it works. If it doesn't work, cool. If it works, cool. Uh, it matters, but it doesn't matter so much. The most important is that you're experimenting, that you're learning, that you are getting some insights that will help you. Because once you do that, you have experience. And without experience, you you have a better understanding of the whole ecosystem, of the whole thing, how it works. If you don't have experience, then you're relying on someone else to come and tell you what to do exactly. And this is your tool, this is how I use it. So it's very black and white. So someone else done this research. And if you're in a marketing agency, yeah, someone else can come and do that research and say that's how you use it. But if you want to stay in front of this innovation, you need to experiment by yourself.
Yeah, I think it's trial and error, and you learn the best what works, what doesn't, as you mentioned, when you actually get your hands dirty, kind of.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
that's how you can also help your customers if you can help yourself first. And some people are scared of it. I still see organization when they completely banned AI and they keep living with it 3 years into the boom. It's not
hmm
the solution. Mm.
exactly. Yeah, you can buy an AI in the company. There's a reason for that. Obviously, I'm not saying that's completely wrong. Sometimes it can be the right decision, but then if you do that, you can't expect to be in front of this technological revolution because you're just out of it.
Yeah, I get it as a decision, on the temporary basis when you figure out how to do it into a secure way and, compliant way. Because, something what goes after it and connected to it, it's one, it's regulations, which, for example, EU is coming up with. You have security, which is not so well known around AI or so widely known yet around it. And okay, what process and how do you supposed to govern it also within the company? So there is
Mhm.
a lot of stuff, in my opinion, which people need to learn to be able to use it in the right way. Of course, you can do it in the small scale without connecting it to the whole systems in your organizations or whatever. But sometimes, okay, if you're scared, ban it, get some time to learn it, and then allow it into more confident way. I don't know what's
Mhm.
your opinion about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's the a job the leadership can do. They need to provide this secure environment for experimentations. Whatever is that environment. Again, it's a matter of choice, but this need to come from the leadership. Say, you know what, we want you to experiment. We're going to give you a time dedicated to experiment. We're going to create, or we already created a safe environment. You can do this experimentation. This is the environment. Go there and try to do something, and let us know how it works. Uh, Explain very clearly things around security, things around the data, how data is used by model, by training the models, how we need to proceed with our proprietary data, whether it's our own or our client data. All that stuff needs to be considered and needs to be communicated properly and very, very clear so people understand it, and then they can take it from there. If you don't do that, you're going into very gray modes, because people are still going to use AI. They're going to use it in a not the proof way. That's what we call shadow AI. So there's AI usage, but actually people, they don't use they use their own kind of AI, and then what goes there and what's happening with that data, nobody knows. And I think that's the dangerous part of the game, because you know all kind of proprietary information can go out and be used by the model for training, and you almost don't have anything else to do to fix that. And who is in charge? Obviously, the person doing that, but also the person to understand what can and cannot do. It needs to be educated properly. And who is that responsibility of the leadership, of course. So,
Yeah, definitely. But sometimes, the leadership also doesn't understand how to do it, and they're not seeking help. They're like, yeah, let's ban
well,
it. It's not our problem. And when usually, you see people using, as you mentioned, people use it on the, shadow way, or they try to push it, from down to up and push actually, usually from tech part, like, hey, let's get something up and running. And suddenly you end up also with 20 different regulations because each team is doing it in a different way.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, as you said, leadership needs to, if they don't understand, they need to be, clever enough to say, you know what, we don't understand this and we need help. Because if you do business, you don't need to understand everything. Leadership don't understand accounting, but they have accounts, right? Someone that, take care about the paperwork and taxes and things like that. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to, act properly and have a good awareness. So it's once you have awareness, proper awareness, you can find the people that can help you with those things.
Exactly. You need to know that it's importance of it, and give it enough priority so people actually can act on it and have time and resources to act on it, and you have specialists who can help you with it.
You know what's interesting thing is that in a lot of cases the leaderships in companies, they're basically more afraid that their competitor is starting to use AI. That's why they're pushing AI more without even pure strategy. So they say, our competitors is going to use that, gives them an advantage, and we need to do something. I hear that a lot of time. We need to do something. Okay, cool. Tell me what we need to do. Well, let's go and figure out. But uh, it comes from the fear, that's we're missing something here, so we need to do something. But still, I mean, that's still good as long as they do a proper, they take a proper actions, and not just, as you said, ban it, because that's easy to just avoid the problem. But this problem, it's an elephant in the room. It's waiting, and it's going to enter very soon.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up sooner or later. And as you
Hmm.
said, some action is better than no action or the banning everything, because then at least, people who are specialized in it can have more freedom to decide in which direction you go with the
Yeah.
help of management. And
There's one question. What is better, to not use AI or to use AI improperly? So that's a philosophical question. Who knows what's the answer? But probably it's better to use it not properly, just to learn, rather than just not use it at all. But again, that's a very personal opinion.
But I think, it comes with every new technology, because you mentioned something that they want to buy AI or do something with AI. I've seen, the same. If I look into my small, battlefield, I've heard, oh, can we buy DevOps? Can we buy platform? And, there is not much thought thinking sometimes or strategy behind it. And like, oh, we have Azure DevOps, we're doing DevOps. I'm like, hey, do you have culture? No, not really. Who cares? And
Hmm.
it's the
Oh
same
yeah,
with AI or any other hype. I think, you need to look into it multidimensional and have a strategy and, both from tools, processes, and people, and not only one of them, because otherwise it's gonna fail. That's
yeah,
my personal
exactly.
opinion.
Yeah, of course. I'm with you on that. That's 100% correct. Because if you just look from one dimension, it's just not going to work, because there's different thinking, and different people, different feelings involved into that. And, especially with all people thinking that AI come for job replacement, that's a sensitive topic. So, uh, I always I always say that um, AI projects are also less or more HR projects as well.
Exactly. And, any IT or any, I see the
Yeah.
same
T-
stuff.
s- Generally, people, when you go to AI projects, say, "Oh, that's technological, that's IT project," but actually, the actual adoption, it's more like an HR stuff rather than technological. As we talked earlier, you need to involve people that are going to use the tools in the development if you want to make it successful. And that's the same thing.
So you mentioned to be bulletproof. What do we need to be bulletproof with for AI?
To be bulletproof in terms of, how to um, be sure that, you're safe in your workspace. Well, there's a few things. The first thing is to embrace the AI first mindset, which means that once you start using more AI tools, once you start kind of experiment, you will see that probably there will be a change in your mindset, and you're going to start solving problems differently. So the way you're going to start even look into the problems will be different. So that's kind of, I call that AI first mindset. Um, then the second thing is to um, redesign your workflows. So if you look at to what are you doing, and if you get these processes and chop it down into small pieces and see where you can implement AI, that's how I call that um, you know, uh, deconstructing and redesign. That's how you can redesign your processes and be more efficient. Uh, Also, uh, you need to dedicate a specific time for learning. You need to have that time for learning. It's just not going to happen by its own. So it's every new thing you need to say, dedicate half an hour per week or an hour per week, or if you're more hardcore user, dedicate 6 hours per week. and just go and learn some stuff because you need to learn it. There's no a magical funnel that can just put this knowledge into your head. Um, the other thing is to experiment, as we said, experiment and be ready to fail. And finally, once you have all of those that mentioned before, you uh, it's good to kind of try to convert yourself from uh, end user to from AI user, end user to AI builder. So you start building a small tools that serves your processes, and once you start doing that, that's make you less replaceable or not replaceable because you're creating you're part of a next uh, you know generation of jobs. Let's put it that way. Because if you create a tools and you create tools for yourself or for your colleagues, what will be the reasoning for an employer to lay you off? There is no reason.
There's
So
less.
yeah, um, a part of it there is some abstract reason, but that's different topic. Once you start be not only user but a builder, then that's your full bulletproof because you know you're you're actually creating this next technological revolution. You're one of the creators. You're not uh, the end user, or even worst case scenario, you're not the one that are just waiting to be replaced. You're in a driving seat if you do that, and
Yeah,
there's
you're not
difference
a
to be.
passenger princess, or even behind, not in the car though.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, to close down, I have 5 rapid questions for you. So if you can answer within few seconds, would be
Okay.
great. Let's see, and then we can wrap up this interesting conversation.
How rapid you want one word or one sentence?
You choose. I'm
Okay,
fine with
cool.
any. What's an AI trend you hope quietly dies in 2026?
uh, Useless talks about things that doesn't matter. For example, M dashes. Uh, that's not interesting at all.
No, that's overrated.
Yeah.
Most overrated KPI in AI projects.
ROI, a pure profit. I
Quality
think, I,
management.
yeah, I think it's a little bit overrated because there's like a more layers than just pure ROI.
Which teams actually adopt AI fastest? Engineers, marketers, or ops?
I think marketers.
Interesting. If you could build an AI agent to eliminate one part of your job forever, what would it be?
Oh, um, uh, I built a few of those. Some are successful, some are not. Uh, you know, I want something that basically check all the expenses and upload them whatever they needs to be uploaded once per month.
So accounting. I would do the
Yeah,
same.
kind of, yeah, accounting. But it's very
Yeah.
contextual because it connects multiple systems.
Yeah, exactly. Would you rather have a perfect data or perfect workflows? Pick one.
Perfect workflows. Workflows can work without data. Data by its own, it's just nothing.
Yeah. So that's all from what I have prepared for you. And I learned a lot in the short term and a lot about your opinions and how you actually can use it into marketing. And for people who listen to us, I would like to invite you to follow Alex's work. We're gonna link your profile and subscribe to your newsletter in AI We Trust. Do you have anything else to add, or where people also can find your job, your work, otherwise?
Yeah, most of the things I'm doing, and I just share my some of my projects or some of my thoughts, or even my let's say, dreams sometimes on LinkedIn. So that's my place. You can probably find the most. And also, I do this newsletter in Substack, which is at the moment it's once per week, and it's it's designed for mainly for leadership. But what I'm trying to do there is to give like a practical solutions or practical examples or frameworks or checklists or something that basically you can download, get, and use it uh, today. So that's my kind of main goal in general, to make AI more accessible, more understandable, uh, and more basically embraced by people. But yeah, I try to explain some concepts in an easy way, so you have an idea of what's possible, what's not.
You definitely did, and definitely shown your, how to do it in a grounded and practical way. A lot of people are flying somewhere that are not really connected and not in pragmatic way.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
thank you for joining me and having the conversation with me.
Thanks for having me, Paula, and have a great and wonderful day.
Thank you. That's it for today's edition of the Bits and Bolts with Paulina. Did you like what you heard? Of course you do. Tell your friends.